Hello, Rory and Alder. This is Heather Newton, reviewing your entry in the Social Deduction Game Design Contest, Old World Order. Let's first start by looking at what we have above the fold on your shop page in the header section. I like what you've done with the filling out the whole space and getting a nice big title here and showing off your different graphics for the different objectives or policies, or I can't remember their exact name in the rule book, but all the different things you might be going for in the game. I like their fun icons. The way they look like stamps or, policy being approved or something like that is cool. And I like this logo. I think you did a good job of making sure the logo doesn't overlap anything important in the background. I do think I guess here it makes sense. This looks like a wooden nickel. The wood makes sense. The wood texture related to the theme of this game is confusing me a little bit. I'm not sure why you chose wood. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe the wooden nickels are somehow applicable to this whole idea, and I'm just not aware of something like that. But anyway, it's not a bad thing. I'm just telling you I'm kind of confused at why you chose that, but it's not hurting anything. One thing that is happening too is you're repeating the same phrase in both the logo and the hero image. It might just use the space that you have available to get people intrigued above the fold before they start scrolling down on the page to say something instead of Old World Order in the background image. Maybe some kind of tagline embedded in the image. Maybe something like this, or something like this headline, or something like, maybe this might be a little bit too long for a tagline to put up here, but something punchy that's along these lines would be good. Let's move down now to your cool factors. I would say these are kind of borderline being used for what they're best used for. I like to see things here that are really specifically unique to your game. I mean, you've used one of the spaces to say social deduction, and that's already going to should already be down here in the, where is the mechanic? Primary mechanic. Interesting. You say bidding is the primary mechanic. I guess so, it's not really being repeated, but I'd say a little bit more about the social deduction instead of just social deduction. It's because there's plenty of social deduction games out there, but what is specifically memorable about this one is the kind of thing that I'd like to see in the cool factors. And I think you've done a good job of being brief and keeping it readable here in the description. You might want to add some headlines above certain things like story, objective, that kind of thing, just to help people skip to the part that they're most interested in if they want to skim. And let's look at your box. So we've got a small pro box, and I see you've got the title on two sides. One side has your set of icons, and the bottom side, I can see it has your logo, and then I'm having a hard time at this size seeing what is in that white box next to your logo. But one thing that I guess, unless it's written in words there, that seems to be missing from the sides and maybe would be better to put in place of the icons from the inside of the game is the stats for the game. So like on the outside of the game, I can see how many players it fits. And so if I've got this in my game collection, I'm taking it off the shelf and I want to try to decide whether or not it fits with the group that I'm playing. It's best if I can really quickly access that information. I guess it's possible that it's on the back of the box, but I can't see that in this view. So definitely recommend putting that somewhere on the outside of the box for quick reference. Now let's look at your action shots. These look like the kind of thing I want to see for action shots, like the game being played. We don't have people playing this game, but we do have a dog, so it must be very easy, very approachable game. Yeah, but this is the kind of thing I want to see. You haven't uploaded anything. I do have some chances to read the cards here, of course. And this is actually the only place that I have to read the cards. There aren't examples of the cards or what the objectives might be in the rule book. And of course, this is moving really quickly in a carousel, and so sometimes I get interrupted before I finish reading or I can quite parse what I'm reading. So actually, like, what all the objectives are would be really nice to have as like a embedded graphic up here in the description. That would give a really quick idea of kind of the feeling of the game and everything like that before I start reading the rules to draw me in. And that was a hang up I had with the rules. We can go over to those now. Is that though you did do what I like to see, and you had examples of how things would play out as you were referring to the characters and their objectives or abilities, I couldn't quite understand what you were talking about because I didn't have the reference of the card to consider as I was thinking about how those cards would interact with each other. So I think maybe having a table of what the characters' abilities are, what the objectives are in the rule book would help parse those things, because although when someone actually buys a game and they have the rule book, they open it all up and they're learning how to play, they usually have all the components. They have the luxury of all the components to use as they think through how to teach the game, what their strategy might be as they play and everything. But in the context of judging this contest, I only have the rule book. I don't have the components, all the components with me. Like, I can only see what the game crafter shows me is only just like one example of each of the kinds of cards. And I think it actually looks like it gave me the backs of them. So all I have is just kind of a random sampling of what you took a photo of down here. And it's not like ordered in a way that helps me reference it while I'm reading the rules and everything. So I think that would really have helped me feel sure that I understood the game. I felt like the concept of the game was really fun, and I had been hoping to take this one to the finals, but when I compared my understanding of the rules of this game to my understanding of the rules of the games that made it to the finals, I felt more sure that I'd be able to teach those games and that we would have a smooth play test and I'd be able to give the games high marks. Like, we'd have a positive experience of testing it so that I could, it would have a good chance of winning. This game was really close. It was one of them that I kind of considered as one of the last ones that may or may not have made finals, but ultimately there were just too many little confusing things about the rule book that made me feel unsure that I understood how it worked, and how I'm also looking for things that will have like a really classic, fun social deduction feel, and so also I'm trying to picture how that part will play out, and there were things about this too that it was hard for me to picture what the suspicion would feel like. It just wasn't coming through really clearly to me. So I am really curious to play it, and I think you have it for sale for a pretty affordable price, so I may, since I'm not going to be getting a copy to test as a finalist, I am curious to play it, so either maybe I'll see you at a convention at some point and we can try it together, or I can purchase it and try it with my friends after I get done with all the work of judging the official finalists, because I am curious to see how it works. I think it's interesting. It seems like it would be funny. It seems like I would be able to... One reason I kind of thought it would be a finalist at first glance is that it seems like it would be easy for me to convince people to play it because it just feels funny and silly and the kind of thing people would be willing to try at least once, So that's a good thing about it. And I look forward to seeing what you do with it, if you continue selling it on the Game Crafter or you're going to move forward publishing it in a longer run. I think it has promise, and I wish you luck going forward. Hey there! Thanks for watching! Be sure to check the description for more information and links to helpful resources. Some links will give me a commission if you choose to buy, and I sure do appreciate the support. Thanks again, and see you in the next video!